Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this a brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. Definitely a good thing. And a brand new day it is. Bright, sunny, warm. In fact, it's almost a summer day in October. I hate to be that, oh, it used to be better back in the day, but even, 10 years ago when my wife was alive, September 1st, it got winter cold. Not anymore, at least in this area. That's a change. It doesn't snow anymore. Yay. Anyway, though, hopefully your day is great. I'm going to talk about my doctor's appointment, and I'm going to talk about, I want to, ow, my neck. Oh, looking over to the side, all kink up right in here. Ow. Just talk about how I spent in the past, like, these were only $5 or less up at Walmart. This is a squishy. Well, I mean, these are Squishmallows, and this is Ernesto. I've shown these all off. I'm just wanted to remind people, and this is Floyd. Floyd was named by the company, but that's fine. Ernesto, that's my name for them, and I cannot remember the name of the bread, so I think I might have called it Samuel, because it's a breakfast toast. I want to find more of these things because they're very soft, very, very squishy. I mean, they're for children, young children, so of course they're soft and squishy, but I like them too. So I've always got my eyes open, but rarely do I find them. There's only like the local Walmart that I go to, so it's not. We have two major big box stores in town. There's a Walmart and a Fred Meyer's / Kroger, and that's it. Everything else is mom and pop stores or strip malls type stuff. There's a dollar store. Things like that. Even though we do have a GameStop in town. So, no. But yeah. But my doctor's appointment now. Because I had a doctor's appointment today. I made it about my blood pressure because I have not been able to get my blood pressure back down to where it was before I started Ritalin. Because before I started Ritalin, my blood pressure was commonly 113/70. And since my blood pressure went out of control because I was on Ritalin, it hasn't been anywhere near that. In fact, it's been usually 150 over almost 90 lately. So, I'm on 2 blood pressure meds, but one of them is for my ADHD and it's from another provider. It's a weak blood pressure medication. The one that I was prescribed by my current care provider that does all the stuff like this is also a weak one. We doubled that dosage. And so we're going to be checking my blood pressure. I have a nurse appointment to go in, and then I have a regular doctor's appointment later on to go talk about stuff and get a biopsy done on things. Because I have a field of moles on my back, and I asked him about them, and some of them he's kind of worried about. So we're going to biopsy those and see if there's anything bad going on, and hopefully I'm not going to die of skin cancer. But we're checking on that. So I am anemic, which I knew, but one of the things that can keep your body, for proper water regulation, you need to also have enough protein. Because if you don't have enough protein, then the water can get caught up inside of your cells instead of being sucked out like normal, and so it leaks out, and it's just your legs swell up. Well, as it turns out, not only am I just anemic, I'm also regularly low on protein. So somehow I've got to increase my protein content, and we're going to try and figure out what to do about the anemia. because I've been anemic my whole life, and I have no clues why or what. So, thumbs up for that. But the big things are we are checking up on all the blood stuff and the heart stuff. Now, when I talked with my doctor about or care provider, about the pains I'd been having here, when I said, well, I'd had these pains and then I had gone to see them at the ER before, and he said, well, when you were having that, did you have this, you know, so I, you know, were you having, was there, you know, were you sweating? Was there all this other stuff? And no, there was nothing cardiac, that chest pain. And when I explained my rationale for why I didn't go into the ER about it, number one, if I went in for every chest pain, I'd never leave. I mean, ever. So that's a big one. So the other being, because I'd had another pain there at the exact same spot, in the exact same way, with the exact same feeling, and gotten in there and hooked up, and it was absolutely nothing. Which, not true, but it was nothing that they needed to take care of. So, I mean, again, with anemia, one of the side effects of that is chest pains. And then I've got scoliosis, I've got my nerve compression here, and all of that affects everything. Your body isn't just discrete, everything affects everything else. So when I talked about all that, he was like, yeah, I wouldn't even worry about stuff like that. While I even admitted, and he acknowledged as well, that, yeah, you know, you can make a mistake. Cardiologists that know better make mistakes, and they die. But something's going to get you. You know, one day I'm going to make a mistake and I'm going to die of something. I'm in no great rush to stop existing, tell you that. But it's going to happen. Going to happen one day to every single one of us. But I was thinking of other things. Try and remember if there was anything else that I wanted to bring up. I know that there is. I'm always forgetting things that I want to talk about. But with my solo RPG setting, I wanted to sort of talk about this because I've been thinking about this part a lot. I have talked about how what is happening on the world right now that I'm writing about is a result of stuff that happened so long ago that nobody even realizes that this could have happened. It's 5 million years before all this occurs was the death of another species that had lived for over 100 million years in peace and prosperity, a utopia. There was tens of billions of them, of over 100 billion over the face of the planet in these utopian cities. And in 1 year after all this time, their war destroyed every single one of them. 1 year. Then the weapons, even though they weren't dropped, it was effectively, for each one that went off, a 2,000 kilometer circumference, where it was as if physically a titanium rod 100 kilometers long, 10 kilometers wide, fell from high Earth orbit onto them into this area where the whole planet would just ring like a bell. But after that huge slam that just flattens everything, first is the chemical reaction where everything just starts melting, burning, as the nuclear fusion starts above that. With each one of these things that goes off, there's nothing. Not a thing can survive this. Some of these things burn down so far through the crust, they're almost down to the mantle. There are gigantic machines that they use to keep the planet stable so that they can have this civilization. They have inertial dampers, heat dismissal, such like that. There are things that control the air, things that control the water, things that control the land. There are heat dispensers. The ones that got it the worst, those that control for things like the making sure the tectonic plates and pressures don't build up pressure and then slam. Because that's one of the big problems why earthquakes are bad. You're dispensing 1,000 years worth of travel in 25 seconds. And that's destructive. These things, they don't stop movements, they just slow them down so that they don't destroy everything. With each city that went, and each time that huge wham, just the planet would ring like a bell, the machines, ooh, nice whistle, the machines that are holding the planet together and controlling for the land, they're getting torn apart even as they are struggling heroically to hold the planet together. The water and air were better at this, surviving, because they just had to control currents, not land. Still, there were gigantic tsunamis that went whoosh as this war went on. And in the end, when there were no cities left, about 500,000 years, the entire planet, because of this, had massive amounts of tectonic and seismic volcanic activity. And these machines struggled mightily to keep the planet together. And if they hadn't, it would have just become another molten ball of magma. No, the machines that slowed down the tectonic plates, less than 500,000 years, and they were all gone. Well, most of them. The water and air largely have, some of them have survived, most of those systems got destroyed. The ones that struggled mightily and did the best were actually the ones that were the simplest as well, the heat dispensers. Because these people had figured out the whole vibrational levels of reality type stuff, they were able to store, well, not necessarily store, but bring their equipment into this ultra vibrational point extra universally. It's there, but it's not there. They were able to take these gigantic, basically chunks of superconductive metal and wedge them with that little twist into the planet where, ooh, itchy nose, where they would, well, do what superconducting metal does, which is draw heat up and dispense it out that direction. It's hard to mess that up. It's pretty idiot-proof. You can just take any chunk of metal, shove it into a fire, and it's now a heat dispenser. As it heats up, it's radiating that heat outward. It's not going to do much if it's only one. But because each one of those you can put at a different wavelength and frequency when they're put into place in those extra universal / dimensional, as in only height, width, depth, and all that, areas, they could chunk as many of them as they wanted into the system and they wouldn't interact with each other. Thankfully, they did. Of all the systems that are there, those are the bulk of them. Vast, overwhelming bulk of these things are still functioning the way they should. They're just big chunks of metal broadcasting this heat out extra universally. So that is a good thing because, again, the planet would be molten without them. And it's all because of this that the tectonic stuff forced the other continents into place to form Carthage, and Landloa and Stelden had not originally been where they were. Now, this is only one hemisphere of the planet I've been dealing with. There's another part of the planet, and just like ours, it is covered with 70% water, And again, this is effectively only the Americas and part of Africa landmass wise. There's still a whole bunch of landmass out there that I haven't even thought of, but is there. And it's all going to be different because 5 million years ago is when on the face of the planet, as well as these creatures and beings that lived there with their high tech, there was also evolving a race of Australopithecine type creatures. They would have looked like Lucy in our world from millions of years back. And if it hadn't been for this war, if it hadn't been for the continents being torn apart and moved, with these machines struggling to keep the planet from going molten, well, because of that, they all went and evolved independently and differently instead of becoming what they would have been, which would have been the Dwaylen. So the Dwaylen on this planet are effectively what we would call elves in other fantasy, but they're not, and they don't act like it because they're the Dwaylen in this world, are the default. And everybody else is descended from the common ancestor of the Dwaylen. The rest of the people that I have no idea what they are yet do live on the rest of the planet, and yeah, of course they do. And they are all descended from Dwaylen stock. And because of that, and the different speciation, they're the Goya, and how they have come to rise up on their section of the continent, well, their continent. And then over in Carthcog, unfortunately for them, the Hulat over there, they lived not on Carthcog at first, but it was another continent that was a part of Carthcog without being actually connected with water that could not be traversed, separating them from the rest of Carthcog. And they couldn't leave because of the stuff surrounding the rest of it. But it was terrible. As a species, they barely survived. And it just kept getting colder as the planet continued and finalized its shifting, and then all the Arctic jet streams that began to freeze out. And luckily for them, the continued movement of the volcanic, seismic, and tectonic stuff was raising up that channel between where they were evolving and Carthcog proper itself. And only about 1,200 years ago, in the context of the story, is when it became possible for them to travel over that channel. And they did. And that is why they are in Carthcog now. The place they came from is now totally covered in ice. Just ice. Unlivable. And their words for where they came from translate basically to vile, unloved, wretched. And Carthcog is still their home, though they're not native to it. So none of the other peoples dispute their ownership of Carthcog, at least this part of it. What's on the rest of the continent? Well, they're going to be finding out, because the entirety of Carthcog being smooshed up, 3 other smaller subcontinents that, because of all the extra tectonic movement, smooshed together. Well, it's roughly the continental size of Africa, but stretched out like the Americas to be connected to the ice at the north and almost connected down at the south with just a small channel that goes through. And I've been thinking a lot about all of these people and the things that they do and how they live. And I talked about the Tashkar yesterday, people who have an instinctive connection to the land, and they can feel when people in groups are suckling the nectar of darkness too closely, or the weirdness of things that are object. When they go to speak with people who are darkness, they will try to convince them to not do what they're doing. But because of their connection, some of their persuasion techniques involve things like staving in the side of your skull. Now, when the Orcani go out to somebody, if they feel darkness building up, it's not always evil to do that. You're just suckling off the nectar of darkness. Doesn't mean you're doing anything terrible with it. When the Orcani come out, if you are doing whatever you do, and a procession of 4 or 5 Orcani come out to talk to you about what's happening, it's just a talk. It may be a very loud and boisterous talk, but you're going to live through it, and you're going to have a lot to actually think about, because they are going to talk about it, not just threaten you or stave in the side of your skull. So there's a difference there. You could actually be a necromancer who, as long as you were careful and didn't harm your neighbors, no one would be too bothered. As long as you're not using the darkness that you're suckling from to hurt others, which increases the amount of darkness, or to try and build yourself up in a horrific way, either of which there's the threshold you have to reach. If you're not doing this, if you're just going, okay, I'm here and I'm happy here, the land's not going to get you. And the Tashkar aren't going to come and try to do something about you. And the Orcani may come talk to you. They'll keep an eye on you. But you can do it. That's why things like armies won't work. That's suckling off of darkness. Because you're going to use your army of people to go harm another army of people, and harming people in great groups like that harms the land, because people are a part of the land, and harming the land is an act of darkness. So armies, that's bad. If you are a patron, thumbs up and thank you. You are beautiful and awesome. I appreciate your help so much. You help bring me from here to here, especially since my rent appears to be going up by almost $100. Thumbs up. Thank you so much. You are beautiful and awesome. If you could, everybody, check out the GoFundMe I have down in the links. That would be awesome. I have a little over $500 now saved up to try and get a new computer. So I need to do some serious checking out of equipment and parts and pieces and all-in-ones, and checking around town to see who can help me if I need to get a computer put together. So it's getting there. If you could check it out and continue helping out, that would be awesome and appreciated. Thumbs up and thank you so very, very much. And of course, if you could like and comment and subscribe, that would be awesome. And speaking of commenting, if you could write hot with beans in the comments to let both me and the YouTube algorithm know that people watch these videos. So yeah, if you could like, comment, subscribe, and even share, that'd be awesome. If you know of anyone who wants to listen to the inane ramblings of an old man, thumbs up and thank you. For everybody that leaves me comments, you are beautiful and awesome people. I appreciate that very, very much. I have had some very good people talk to me. There is someone, I believe the name is Blockhead, wrote some very good stuff about things to look for in the whole computer hunt. Thank you all so much. I'm almost at a half hour on this because of my inane ramblings. Thank you so much for listening. It is appreciated to no end. So I'm going to edit, render, upload. It's almost 4 o'clock, and everything that disrupted me this morning, well, I didn't get much done today. But I'm still going to take care of myself and not beat myself up. And of course, if you cannot get done what you would like to get done, please don't beat yourself up. It doesn't help you get it done better. You're just punishing yourself, falling into a bad habit. Try to break that, please. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. And that is indeed a very good thing. Goodness gracious. I mean, I could talk all day and then no one would listen because I'd be talking all day. You have a good one.